The night began quietly, almost too quietly. The kind of quiet that made Emma Parker notice every sound in her house. The soft hum of the refrigerator, the ticking clock above the stove, the wind brushing against the windows of her small Oregon home. She had lived alone long enough to know this silence well. It usually brought comfort. That night it carried something else, something restless. Emma was folding laundry when her phone rang. She nearly ignored it, thinking it was another reminder or a spam call. But when she saw her cousin Daniel's name, she answered. Daniel's voice was rushed but gentle. He explained that his son Lucas needed a place to stay for one night. There had been a last-minute change in plans. A school event. A long drive. Emma lived close enough to help. Just one night, he said. Emma hesitated longer than she meant to. She wasn't sure why. Family visits always stirred memories. She preferred to keep quiet. Still, she agreed. She told herself it was only one night. When the call ended, she stood. Still in the middle of the room, the house felt different already, as if it sensed the change before it arrived. Lucas showed up just before sunset. Emma watched from the window as he stepped out of the car. He was tall for his age, but still carried the awkward energy of someone not fully grown into himself. He wore a hoodie, sneakers worn at the edges, and carried a backpack that looked heavier than it should have been. When Emma opened the door, Lucas smiled politely. Not forced, just careful. "Hi, Aunt Emma," he said, even though they weren't that close. His voice was calm, respectful. "Hi, Lucas, come in," she replied, stepping aside. He removed his shoes without being asked. Emma noticed small details. Like that, she always did. The house seemed to shift once he was inside. It wasn't loud or chaotic. It was warmer. Lived in. Emma showed him the guest room. He thanked her more than once. She told him dinner would be ready soon. He offered to help, but she waved him off. In the kitchen, Emma moved quickly, chopping vegetables, stirring sauce, trying not to think too much, but her thoughts kept drifting. She hadn't hosted anyone overnight in years. After the divorce, she had grown used to doing everything on her own, cooking for one, cleaning for one, living for one. Lucas sat at the counter while she cooked. He talked about school, his friends, the event he was heading to the next day. Emma listened, nodding, asking questions. He spoke easily, but there was a quiet sadness behind his words, something she recognized. He missed his mother. Emma could feel it in the pauses, in the way his eyes softened when family came up. His mother had passed away when he was younger. Emma had only met her a few times, but she remembered her kindness. Dinner was simple, nothing special. But they ate together, and that alone felt meaningful. Lucas complimented the food. Emma smiled, surprised at how natural it felt. After dinner, Emma cleaned up while Lucas dried the dishes without being asked. Again, she noticed. "Do you mind if I look around?" Lucas asked later. "I like books." Emma gestured toward the living room. "Help yourself." Her living room held shelves she hadn't touched in years. Old novels, photo albums, things she never got around to sorting through. Lucas moved slowly, reading titles, pulling out a book here and there. Emma sat on the couch, flipping through her phone, but mostly watching him. He seemed careful, as if he didn't want to disturb anything. Then it happened. Lucas reached for a book on the lower shelf. As he pulled it out, something slipped from behind it and fell to the floor with a soft sound. Emma looked up. Lucas bent down and picked it up. It was a notebook, old, worn, the cover bent at the corners. Emma recognized it instantly. Her chest tightened. Lucas turned it over in his hands. "I think this is yours," he said gently. Emma stood so quickly the couch creaked. She crossed the room in a few steps and took the notebook from him. Her fingers trembled. "I didn't know this was here," she said, more to herself than to him. Lucas nodded. "Sorry, I didn't mean to snoop." "You didn't," Emma said quickly. "It's fine." But it wasn't fine. The notebook held words she hadn't read in decades. Dreams, letters never sent. feelings she had buried deep. She hadn't planned on opening it ever again. Lucas studied her face, concern clear in his eyes. You okay?" Emma forced a smile. Yes, just surprised. She tucked the notebook under her arm and returned it to a drawer in the hallway. When she came back, Lucas was sitting quietly on the couch. They watched a movie together, but Emma didn't remember a single scene. Her thoughts were racing. How had that journal ended up on the shelf? She was certain she had left it behind years ago, far from this house. As the night grew later, Emma showed Lucas to the guest room again. He thanked her, said good night, and closed the door softly behind him. Emma returned to her bedroom, but sleep didn't come. She lay awake staring at the ceiling, the journal heavy in her mind. Every page of it carried a piece of her younger self, a woman who believed in love without fear, a woman who trusted someone completely, a woman who had loved Michael. She sat up and opened the drawer where she had placed the notebook. Slowly, she opened it. The handwriting was hers, but it felt like it belonged to someone else. She read a few lines, then closed it again, her heart beating too fast. Emma got out of bed and walked down the hallway. She paused outside the guest room. The door was closed. The house was silent again. She returned to her room, but the quiet no longer felt calm. It felt full. In the early hours of the morning, Emma finally drifted into a light sleep, her dreams filled with old memories she thought she had forgotten. Down the hall, Lucas lay awake too. He stared at the ceiling, the image of the notebook still fresh in his mind. He hadn't meant to pry, but he recognized the name written inside when it fell open for just a second. A name he knew well, a name his family rarely spoke. Aloud. Michael. Lucas turned on his side, his thoughts heavy. He wondered if Emma knew the truth. He wondered if she would want to. Outside, the night moved on, unaware that a single, quiet visit had already begun to change everything. Morning arrived slowly, pale light slipping through the kitchen window as Emma stood at the counter, staring at the coffee maker like it might give her answers. She had slept barely 2 hours. Her head felt full, but her heart felt strangely awake. The sound of footsteps pulled her from her thoughts. Lucas entered the kitchen, freshly showered, his hair still damp. He looked older in the morning light, more serious. "Good morning," he said. "Morning," Emma replied, forcing warmth into her voice. They moved around each other carefully, like two people aware something important sat between them. Emma poured coffee. Lucas fixed himself cereal. The clink of a spoon against the bowl sounded louder than it should have. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Lucas cleared his throat. "I should probably say something." Emma's hands froze around the mug. She didn't look at him. "About what?" "The notebook," he said. Emma closed her eyes briefly, then turned. "Lucas, you don't have to, I know," he said quickly. "But I think you should know. I saw the name." Silence settled between them. Emma set the mug down slowly. "Which name?" Lucas met her eyes. He didn't smile. "Michael." The room felt smaller. Emma took a step back, as if the name itself had pushed her. Her voice came out quiet. "How do you know that name?" Lucas inhaled deeply. "He's my uncle, my dad's older brother." Flute landed hard but clear. Emma leaned against the counter, steadying herself. Pieces began falling into place, old memories, unanswered questions. Moments that never made sense before. "I didn't know," she said honestly. "I never knew his last name." "He never talked about family." Lucas nodded. "That sounds like him." Emma studied the boy in front of her. She saw hints of someone familiar in his eyes now, in the shape of his smile. It made her chest ache. He moved back. Lucas continued. "To town a few weeks ago." Emma swallowed. "Does he talk about me?" Lucas hesitated, then nodded. "Sometimes he doesn't say much, just that you mattered, that you were important." Emma turned away, staring out the window. The past rushed forward, not as pain this time, but as unfinished music. "I thought he left and forgot me," she said. "I thought I imagined what we had. You didn't." Lucas said softly, The sound of a car outside cut through the moment. Tires on gravel, an engine idling. Lucas glanced toward the window. That's probably him. Emma's heart jumped. Him, my uncle, Lucas said. He said he'd pick me up this morning. Emma felt suddenly unprepared. Her hair was loose, her shirt wrinkled, her emotions wide open. I didn't know he was coming, she said. I didn't know you didn't know, Lucas replied. They stood there, both unsure what to do next. A knock sounded at the door. Emma moved slowly, each step heavy with years of memory. She opened the door. Michael stood there. Time had changed him, but not enough to hide the man she once loved. His hair showed traces of gray now. His face was lined in ways that spoke of regret and living. His eyes, though, were the same dot. They locked onto hers. Emma, he said, barely above a whisper. Michael. Neither moved. Lucas stepped forward, breaking the stillness. I'll wait in the car, he said quietly, sensing what this moment needed. Michael nodded, eyes never leaving Emma. When the car door closed, the space between them felt louder than any sound. I didn't expect to see you, Michael said. I didn't expect you to ever come back, Emma replied. He looked down, then back up. I should have explained. I should have stayed. Yes, she said, you should have. They stood in the doorway, years pressing in. Finally, Emma stepped aside. Come in. They sat at the kitchen table, the same place she had shared breakfast with his nephew an hour earlier. Life felt strange that way, looping back on itself. I saw your journal, Michael said, suddenly. Emma stiffened. Lucas told you. No, he said. I recognized it. The handwriting, the words. I found it years ago when I was packing to leave. I didn't know how to give it back. You kept it. I couldn't throw it away, he said. I kept it close. I read it more times than I should admit. Emma felt tears rise, but she held them back. Why didn't you come back sooner? Michael exhaled slowly. Because I was scared. Because I thought I didn't deserve you anymore. Emma looked at him. Really looked at him. She saw the man. He was now not just the boy she remembered. People grow, she said. Sometimes they grow apart. Sometimes they grow back. Michael nodded. I don't want to reopen wounds. Emma shook her head. Koo didn't. They were never closed. A quiet understanding settled between them, not a promise, not a reunion, but something honest outside. Lucas watched from the car, giving them space. He felt a strange peace knowing that one small accident, one fallen notebook, had done something good. Michael stood to leave. I won't push, he said, but I'd like to talk again, if you're willing. Emma walked him to the door. I am. They exchanged a small smile. Nothing rushed. Nothing forced. As the car drove away, Emma stood alone on the porch. The house behind her felt different, now empty, not heavy, but open. She went back inside and opened the drawer. This time, she didn't put the journal away. She placed it on the table, ready to write again.